Hello! We've drawn boxes, both basically from a single point, 2-point, 3-point perspective, as well as cityscapes from 1, 2, and 3-point perspective. And what we've concentrated on mostly is boxes or rectangular shapes of some sort. Now, what happens is not everything is rectangular. Sometimes you need things that are non-rectangular. They're more like pyramids. And so here, I'm going to show you a pyramid in 1 and 2-point perspective. The 1 point I can do from one side to the other, so it doesn't really matter. You can use many single points to draw pyramids. It's just a different view of each. And this will be the base for a pyramid from a 2-point perspective. So just to be clear, you could use just this one, just that one, or just the one on the right. It doesn't matter. I wanted to give you a little different perspective on a 1-point perspective for a pyramid. The first thing you do in each one of these cases is you draw the base. If you were to fly in an airplane above the pyramids and you look straight down directly above one, you'll see that it looks like a square. So since this is in 1-point perspective, the square would look a little differently when you're looking at it from this direction. It looks more like what they call a trapezoid. So these two go in, as do these two and these, but from slightly different angles. If you're looking down at a pyramid and we're drawing it in 2-point perspective, which we did here, this, if you're above looking down, this would actually be a square. The first thing you want to do is all pyramids, the peak or point or crown, whatever you want to call it, way on top, is in the middle of what it would be at the bottom. So we have to find the middle of the base to figure out where the peak is going to be. So you draw an X through this shape, and what happens is where the two lines meet, that is the exact center of the base. It doesn't matter that it looks like it's further back and should be further down. This is where it would be, so if you're looking straight down in each case, you would be at the center here. So what I do is I draw a vertical line from the point straight upward. Hopefully you can see that. Take your time on this. So again, after you find the center, draw a vertical line. You can make them different heights depending on how pointy you want your pyramid to be. Now, you'll notice that this one's medium height, this one's fairly tall, and this kind of a squatty bottom. So those are just by choice. It doesn't really matter. This might look like what the top of a church bell tower would look like. This might be closer to the pyramids in Egypt, and this might be a cross between the two that you might find on a city hall building. You never know. But basically, once you make the height, you have 4 corners and the tip. So you draw lines from each corner to the tip. Sometimes you can't see all the 4 corners, which is okay. I'm drawing this so you can see how it's worked. Same thing here. You notice that these lines here almost look like they overlap, which is very common for pyramids. Same thing here. You can see some of this side, a little bit of this side, and you can see a lot of the front. On this particular one, you notice that here is the center. This particular line goes to the peak, from this corner to the peak, from this corner to the peak, but the back corner you can't see. It's blocked by the front 2 sides. When you erase the lines you don't need, you'll see this is what you get. Now you notice that they're all pyramids. And you notice on this particular middle one, you can only see a slight bit of this side and the front. This one you see the front and you see this side. This one you see not only the front, you see this side and this side slightly. On this particular pyramid, you only see 2 sides. To make it easier to see, you can shade. But when I'm saying shading is you're just basically coloring this to make it become more 3-dimensional. Notice on this side I darkened and it looks more three-dimensional. On this, I did the opposite. I shaded this side. This one I did two shades. I left this clear, this modestly. This is a little heavier shade. Here I shaded slightly and here a little more. And you see that you get a nice three-dimensional effect on your pyramids. Now, you remember in the cityscapes we drew different buildings. If you had a building that you could see from the top down was square, you could put any one of these particular pyramids on top. If any of you have ever been downtown Los Angeles, the old City Hall building, they'll have a tower, and on top of the tower they have a pyramid. And it would look like this depending on which view.